Okay. Folks, I'd like to, all in favor?
Aye.
Folks out there in Zoom world, I'd like to apologize for the inconvenience this evening with the computers. We had some technical difficulties. I still learn every day about computers, so I could tell you, I think it was just overwhelmed, overloaded, and all the above. I think we made the corrections. We're just trying to get a blast out to the folks that relog back in, and we apologize for the inconvenience. So, that being said, we're going to go to the first public participation, 7 p.m. on agenda items only.
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir.
I would like to suggest that we move this first public participation portion to after the superintendent's presentation. I imagine that many of the 153 people in on the call are interested in the superintendent's report. And so maybe if he gave that report before their comments, it might streamline the meeting a little bit.
This is for the items only, though.
All right. Mr. Langang, repeat it one more time because actually I don't hear as well on my computer. One more time, sir.
Okay. I'm suggesting that we move this first public comment portion to after the superintendent's presentation, since I expect that many of the people wanting to make public comments
I concur that who knows and who's getting back on. So we'll move to, well, we could actually go to committee reports, then we'll go to superintendent report, and then we will open up the public participation. How's that?
I make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, does anybody have any committee reports this evening? Any committee reports? So, Mr. Superintendent, I hope you have a bottle of water because you'll be speaking a lot tonight. Do you have a superintendent's report, please?
Thank you, President Signorella. Good evening, everyone. I know we have a full house. Welcome to our meeting. Before I put up the PowerPoint and the presentation, I just want to make a statement. These are definitely and certainly emotional and challenging times for all of us. And we have faced an unprecedented pandemic that we've never thought would happen. And since March, we've been pretty much dealing with the unknown. So, you know, I want everyone to please take a deep breath. The saying always is, when we work together, when we pull together, we always come up with the best solutions. So some people, I know that the letter that was sent home today and to both the staff and to the parents, some of you welcomed it, obviously, for obvious reason, and some of you did not. And of course, for good reasons. Over the past 6 months, 5 months, I have read many of your emails, especially in the past week or two, all 385 questions and comments that were sent to the district. I took the time to carefully review all of them and carefully try to reflect, absorb, and give us some thought. And over the past week or two, due to different situations that we had not known before, we had to make this very, very important, but also difficult decision to move from an in-person hybrid plan of instruction to an all remote to start the school year. And when I tell you it was difficult, it was very difficult. No one in this audience wants more than I do for our students to be back in our buildings. You know, I miss them every day, the laughter, the noise in the lunchroom, the engagement in the classroom. And for that reason, you know, it's something that I would love to see. However, we are faced with something that we never, ever, ever, none of us in our lifetime thought we were going to be faced with. So here we are, and we're still faced with the unknown and faced with challenges that may be for the unforeseeable future. We don't know, and no one knows what's going to happen. But one thing that I do know is that all of us here and just being part of this board meeting and this part of presentation, and our board members and our staff, our parents and our administration, and everyone who's involved who's a stakeholder. It's greatly affected by this. And one thing and one thing only, to do what's in the best interest of the students. Our mission since the beginning of this pandemic has been very clear. And I've been in my communications to the parents and to the staff, is to protect the health and well-being of our students and our staff while still providing the best education for our students. Is remote learning the best route to give our students the best education? Probably not. No one, no technology and no program can replace an in-person instruction, a teacher in the classroom. That has been proven over and over again. And I really don't think that it is. However, when we started this in March, as everyone knows, we didn't know how long it was going to be. It was supposed to be for 2 to 3 weeks. We extended it to April, extended it to May, extended it to the end of the school year. One thing that was in our favor is that we learned. We listened to some of the concerns of the parents, and there were some, and we listened to what the teachers were telling us as well. We took note, and we started planning, because we didn't know what was ahead of us in September. So one thing that I can tell you, and as I go through this presentation, is that we have strengthened and we have made our instruction, our virtual instruction, we will continue to do so, better and improve from the spring. And you're going to notice that immediately. Another thing that I would also want to make note of and make sure that you do understand, our ultimate goal is to bring students back. And when you see the phase end that we have prepared, we have planned, and we're going to send to the state because the state needs to approve this revised plan that we have, you're going to see that our goal is to start bringing students back. And our priority, and we are going to prioritize our most delicate, sensitive, and needy students, our special education population, our self-contained classes, our autistic students, our ELL students, those that really need the most engagement and the most contact with a teacher. My hope is to start bringing them back 2-3 weeks. We will be assessing every week or two to see what the data is telling us. And the data is what's going to drive the decisions that we make. And now if I can have the presentation up, Mr. Hyde, please. Thank you. And again, my apologies and our apologies for, first of all, our cancellation of the meeting where I was supposed to present this plan obviously has changed since then, and it was revised, and also for the technical difficulties that we face today. Things do happen, and we have to do our best to go on. A restart and recovery plan to reopen schools. As of yesterday, we have changed course, as you know already and you are aware of, and our introduction on June 26th, as everyone knows by now, Governor Murphy required all districts to establish a in-person education program to restart schools in the fall of 2020. That was back in June 2020. Immediately, our district began to put together a committee of different stakeholders, including administrators, teachers, staff members, parents, Board of Education member, to review the guidelines from the roadback document from the state. We did that. It was a lot of work. The state gave us 4 weeks to put it together. And I cannot say enough words of those members of our committee that gave vacation time, summertime, to work diligently on putting this plan together. We were asked to, we were required to. The state said that we needed to. We did meet minimal standards in our plan. On August 12th, just about a week ago, a little less, Governor Murphy and the Department of Education interim commissioner, Mr. Demmer, announced that New Jersey public schools and private school districts will be open for in-person instruction for the start of the school year. But public schools can begin the school year via remote-only instruction if they cannot adequately meet critical health and safety protocol outlined in the state's school reopening guidance. So what we did was look carefully, and with new information that we were receiving, it was an impossible task to safely bring our students back to be supervised and instructed, and scheduling would not be possible. It was just impossible to do. We looked at every area, we looked at every venue that we could, and we couldn't. I immediately scheduled a meeting with our Board of Education and committees, explained to them the situation that we were facing, and we all agreed that there was no way that at this time we can begin our school year on time in September in person in a hybrid plan, instructional plan. After that meeting, we recognized, and I think other districts have been in constant communication with other district superintendents in roundtable meetings and so forth. And this seems to be the trend that other districts are facing as well. The safety due to scheduling and the supervision of students have become a big issue around the state. So I couldn't myself face or ensure to the parents and to the staff that we will be able to provide an adequate education to our students in a safe environment. And again, I want to repeat, our mission is to protect the health and well-being of all of our students and staff. And that was a number one priority from the beginning. A day after that, or 2 days, can you go back? A day after that, the Department of Health came out and implemented a statewide approach for school reopening with a regional and local focus. The reopening of schools require broad community to make a commitment to reduce the risk of exposure to the virus that causes the COVID-19. Therefore, they came out with a matrix, a regional risk matrix. Union County is considered to be a moderate risk of transmission region, which means that it is recommended that school districts either implement remote learning that's for students and staff at high risk of severe illness, consider hybrid learning approaches, or a fully remote learning. So we are within that risk matrix as well. Go ahead. Again, our mission continues to be to responsibly return students and staff back to school in a healthy and safe way. We couldn't find that way. It was impossible. That was the reason for a change in plans. A couple important points that I want everyone to realize. This plan, as has been from the is subject to change at any time. Next week, and that's why I do ask parents and the teaching staff and the entire staff to please be patient. I'm not dictating this plan, and I don't think anybody can. Data regarding the virus is dictating how we change this plan. So that's why I keep asking to please remain patient and allow us to do what's in the best interest of the students. There's no perfect plan, but our priority is always to provide students with the safest and most optimal instructional plan. And of course, this plan requires Department of Education approval. We did get approval with minimal standards for the first plan. I will reissuing the plan to the department within the next day or two, and we will find out whether that plan is approved or not. Great. What is our instructional plan? And a lot of the concerns that I heard back in April and June is that at times we didn't see a lot of student engagement in our instruction. There was a lot of work, a lot of independent work. However, there was not enough engagement, a lot of life lessons that was going on. Our administration, I do have to say a couple of words for our administration, and I want to publicly thank them. We have had an amazing time during the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks where our administration, even on vacation time, has come in to make sure they work on a plan that our students can have the best type of instruction possible. They have been working tirelessly to make sure we meet this, and we still continue. And one of the things that I asked them to do, because we didn't know where this was going, to start planning for remote, and that they did. So what I'm going to show you now is some information, some samples of schedules. However, I do want to announce that in the coming week or two, our elementary, middle school, and high school principals will be scheduling virtual meetings with the parents. We're going to have a town hall type of meeting with the parents where they're going to go into detail concerning the daily schedule and the instruction and the factors that surround all of the different instructional methods. Go ahead, Chris. Okay, these are the phases that we have come up with. And as you can see, there are no dates there. We will include dates. However, we don't know what the virus is going to do or whether we're going to be forced to continue remote for a longer period of time. The governor may announce that. I don't know. It is the unknown. But phase one, as we all know now, is full-time remote home-based instruction. We'll be evaluating on a monthly basis, maybe every 2 weeks. Our hope is for the possibility to prioritize and bring in our special education self-contained students earlier than the rest of the population. And that might be by the end of September, early October. That is a goal that we have. I don't want to commit to a date because, again, we cannot. As you know from last year, from the experience we had last year, the timeline kept going later and later. So we can have this possible scenario as well. Phase two is our hybrid instruction, which you already have the plans, which means an A-B schedule, where half the students come in on an A schedule, the other half comes in on a B schedule. Monday, Tuesday for A, Thursday, Friday for B, Wednesday's remote instruction for everyone. Phase three is hybrid instruction, full day, bringing the same groups of students, but now instead of half a day or shortened day, they will come in for full day. And phase four is in-person school-based instruction, which resume the regular schedule of school as we always knew. Now, I can throw some dates up if you would like, and I certainly can do that. Phase one, beginning September 8th. Phase two, we're looking at the possibility of mid-October or November 1. Phase three, possibly January 1. With phase four, when the virus tells us we can go back, or when the data tells us we can go back in a healthy and safe manner. But these are the phases that we will come in. It may change, the dates may change. However, we will keep parents, staff, and everyone informed as we carefully evaluate what's going on. If these regional health matrix change, we may have to delay some of these spaces. If those matrix, health matrix, work in our favor, we may move the dates up. We just don't know. Good. Well, when we do return a social instructional plan, and you saw that already because it's been posted on the website, we will continue with our social distancing of 6 feet. And again, I have to give shout outs to people that have been responsible for this. Mrs. Callas, Mr. Parento, and the custodial and maintenance staff were very busy the month of June and July to prepare the classrooms, which we still are going to continue to prepare to make sure that every instructional area is spaced out the 6 feet that the CDC expects and recommends that we do. We'll be using the Google G Suite, which has added some platforms, so our remote learning will be different than what it was back in May and June, April, May, and June. Now, it allows you to have breakout rooms, breakout classes. It allows you to do many different features that before it did not. As we moved and learned, so did these platforms. So we will be enhancing. The principals are also having a staff meeting, optional staff meeting in the next week or so to start working with the staff on some of these instructional methods. And again, central office, Mr. Salvo, Ms. Marmello, and all the principals, again, have been working so diligently to make sure that we plan and prepare the best we can. If necessary, paper instructional activities will be scheduled for pickup, and that is obviously more for the lower grades that need that type of instruction. Students with, and this is important because I did receive some emails today, students without a device will be issued one by the district. If parents go to the Genesis portal, there's a request there. You can complete the form and you can receive information on the district issued device is there. Please go to the Genesis portal request. It's there. The district will also troubleshoot and establish internet capability for any student without the internet. Also, please go to Genesis. If parents, this is critical. If you do not have a laptop, a device, if you do not have internet, please go to the Genesis portal request or call one of the schools if you don't have the access. And they will make sure that they provide the access for you. This is important. As we move to remote, and we've been in remote, we want everyone to have the ability and the capability to go and find these and have a device and the capability to go into the internet. There'll be contactless pickup of technology devices will be available. We did that back April, May, and June, and the tech staff, again, a shout out, did an amazing job. They were out here in front of the boardroom, board office, and everything worked out really well. Additional technology resources have been and will continue to be purchased to support student learning. We already have purchased several new resources and applications to enhance our teaching tools, our instructional tools. Whether in-person, hybrid, or virtual, all related services sessions will continue to be delivered according to the students' IEPs. For those parents that have students with special needs, please be reassured that we will provide the services that your child certainly is entitled to. And if for whatever reason you're not receiving it or there's an issue, please contact either Ms. Marmello, our Director of Special Services, or contact me directly. We want every student to receive the services that they well deserve. Good, Chris. Just so you can have, and again, this was posted also on the website, so you can have a visual of what the room looks like. Chris? As you can see from our photo there. Our desks will be separated. They will measure 6 feet apart from student to student, okay? So this is what a typical classroom would look like when we do return to a hybrid instructional plan, okay? Just, again, an example. And now I want to just share with you, and I'm not going to go through the entire schedule. I just want to share with you how this is going to be reviewed with you in detail when you do meet with the principals. This is what phase 1 instructional schedule is going to look like for a pre-K to 5 day, okay? So you can see we have 8:20 to 8:30, K to 3, 4, 5. Period 1 will be the same as, and again, our goal is to parallel what a normal day in school will be. They will have the social emotional learning meetings like they always have. Then they will go right into their Google Classrooms, or if it's pre-K, obviously following the guidelines of the state program. And again, ELA Google Classroom, they could be pre-recorded sessions or live classroom every day. This is Monday through Friday. Again, ELA live Zoom will be period 3. Math Google Classroom, math live Zoom. So the teacher will be live for the majority of the day with your child, with the students. They will go to science and social studies Google Classroom. And again, pre-K obviously is different because we're following the state guidelines for that curriculum. And it goes all the way to period 8. Then there will be lunch. So it follows the same schedule as the regular day schedule. Then is either independent work if a student does not have specials, or specials will be from 1:20 to 2:05. That means music will happen, art will happen, phys ed will happen virtually. It will be live. And then teacher office hours between 2:05 and 3 o'clock. What does that mean? Parents have concerns. Students need some kind of information about certain lessons. Teachers will be available via either Zoom, Classroom, Google Meets, whichever. They will be available. So you will have a full day, pre-K to 5, the same as your regular schedule during the day, 8:20 to 3 o'clock. Here's a phase 1, 6 to 8 sample schedule. They're following exactly the same program, the same schedule as if they had a regular in-person day. Live instruction all the way through. English language arts is blocked. Math, study hall, same as they would. Special will be period 6, social studies, science, another special, and then lunch from 11:52 to 12:30, 1:10, special again, my apologies, but that will be lunch as well. I'm sorry, 12:30 to 1:10 will be lunch. And then remote learning support will be during that time, either a small group, live Zooms, recorded virtual lessons, or office hours, a combination of all three. Okay, again, when you parents meet with Ms. Goyce in the parent town hall meeting, you will get more specific, detailed information about how this is going to work. Here's a 9 to 12 sample schedule. Mrs. Costa in the high school, because of the specialized areas and the different in the way the schedule works, Monday and Thursday, Tuesday and Friday will be block schedules. As you can see, period 1 will meet Monday and Thursday, period 5 will meet Tuesday and Friday, and then so on, 2, 6, 3, 7, 4, 8. That's depending on the student schedule, is more individualized. Wednesdays will be a regular day for everybody, okay? That means that from 8 o'clock all the way to 2:40, they'll have a regular non-block schedule. We feel that that will be the most optimal way of students receiving the core of their instruction. And then from 1:15 to 2:50 will be remote learning support, small group, live Zooms, recording, and so forth. Again, those high school parents, when you do have your meeting with Mrs. Costa in the town hall meeting, she will be more specific about what goes on during those periods in instruction. Okay. Here is a phase 2 pre-K 5 sample schedule. As you know, phase 2 will be the hybrid, okay? The hybrid schedule, A-B days, okay? It looks a little bit more complicated. We'll go over it with you. But there's pre-K, morning circle, SEL, K3, social emotional. This is for A and B group will have the same type of lessons, okay? Same type. As you can see right there, the students that are 100%, if you go all the way to the right, 100% virtual students will have almost synchronized lessons. So it's synchronous. And that's what we mean. They will have parallel lessons from your live lessons to your virtual lessons, okay? Via Zoom or via Google Classroom. We do not, and again, we put it out there, we do not have the capability right now to live stream. We're working on it. And if we, this remote learning, or if we come back hybrid for a longer period of time, we should hopefully have the capability later on in the year. Okay, here's a sample 2 for 6 to 8. Oh, do we skip 6 to 8? All right, we'll look for 6 to 8. This is 9 to 12. I'm sorry? There you go, 6 to 8 sample schedule, virtual. But this is the same one that we just saw. That's phase 1, looking for phase 2. You have to go forward. There we go. Next one. Yeah, no. Here we go. Okay, here's your sample schedule for 6 to 8 for group A and B. As you can see, 100% virtual. It's all classes will be Google Classroom, all pre-recorded lessons. Live lessons will be for the A and B group synchronous. So it will be the same A and B. We'll have the same type of lessons via Google Classrooms based on the same.
Ease back into operation. For 5 months, programs that help group home residents shop and gain life skills remain on hold.
I'm sorry, everyone.
When a COVID-19 vaccine becomes available, there needs to be a mass immunization campaign.
This is what we call commercial talk.
More than
Just plug it in a little commercial.
Population. That's the only way, according to World Health Organization, that we will attain herd immunity from the coronavirus. State lawmakers are looking into the prospects of leaving the regional electric grid under a bill advancing in the legislature. Senator Bob Smith says that the Board of Public Utilities is already preparing.
All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. All right. This is your 6 to 8 sample schedule. You want to go over to the 9? Next 12. Okay, here's the 9 to 12 student schedule, option A, and then the 100% virtual students. Again, we're trying to have synchronous, and there will be, of course, some asynchronous type of lessons as well. But as you can see, we're trying to really parallel what the lessons will be. Again, Mrs. Costa will go over this with you as the time comes. We are planning on having regular town hall meetings with parents as we move on to the different phases. Just so everyone is aware, just so we can, again, review these schedules with you. Good. Yeah, I wanted to discuss a little bit about safety and wellness. Many of the questions that were asked, the answers were in the plan. However, I know some of them needed a little bit more clarification. Okay, the screening PPE response to students and staff presenting symptoms. You can find on Appendix E and F, but I do want to review just a couple of them. We do have plans for pre-screening students and staff. Temperature checks will be daily when we do return to our hybrid. model. And questionnaires will also be completed. And, you know, one of the things that we would do during the remote plans or the remote time when students are home is to fine tune. We're going to be working with the nurses to make sure that, you know, questionnaires are in a place where parents can easily access them and we can just complete it every day. So there's, you know, the students are ready to come in as they come in with the temperature checks and all questionnaires completed. And of course, if a student or staff answers yes in any of the questionnaires, a medical clearance will be required. And this is all in the guidance that we received. Students and staff will be given or taken temperature check. If a student has a temperature of 100.4 greater, they will be sent home immediately. We do have what they call isolation rooms or COVID rooms. Students who present any type of symptoms will be held there. Obviously, they will be supervised, and the parents will be picking them up. And then, of course, we would need some kind of medical documentation. Students that fail the screening, as I just mentioned, will get medical clearance from a doctor before allowed to return to school. And again, we will observe for any signs and symptoms. We do have training for our staff on COVID-19, which the state, you know, it has come up with, and is part of the rollback guidance as well. Okay. Also on Appendix F, please, you know, look through it very carefully. It's on the website. It's on the front page of the website for when a student or staff becomes ill. It's in there, and also about contact tracing. Part of the requirements to be able to reopen in hybrid is to have staff members trained on contact tracing. We already had our safety specialist, as well as a couple of our nurses, attend a class through Johns Hopkins to be trained for contact tracing. So we do have that ability now to complete that. But please read Appendix F. Okay. Okay, this is really something that it's critical, and we do not want to forget or put aside, because all the data is showing us that students' mental health is definitely being impacted by the isolation, by the trauma, really, or the stress related to the virus and the fears that came along with it, and obviously not being able to be in school. Appendix K, I would like everyone to read it carefully. Our conditions of learning, which is part of the plan, which was took, you know, members of our counseling staff, members of our special education students program, child study team, and things such as that, did a great job to make sure that we addressed all of that, making sure that we have in place when students return, and also remotely, to have social emotional support for them, as well as behavioral and academic support as well. And we already, Mrs. Callis and I, you know, have had plenty of conversations and discussions about making sure that funding is put aside when students are safely able to come back, that we can provide programs after school, if we need Saturday, if we need summer programs, not only academically, but also social, emotional, and mental health assistance as well. So we have a plan for all of that. Please read Appendix K. It's all in there. Okay? A multi-tier student safety for students is there, as well as what the guidance department is doing, as well as what's information is out there as well. So please make sure that you read it. If parents, since your child is going to be home, if you're concerned about any mental health issues, social issues, academic, behavioral, please don't hesitate to reach out to the guidance of the counseling staff in your school. They'll be more than willing to help with whatever the needs are. Please do. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about facilities. Again, shout out to Mr. Parento, the custodial and the maintenance department, and really the entire administration that helped out. Facilities cleaning practices, we send this to the state. We meet the minimal standards for all of these. Our HVAC systems have fresh air components. That is part of the guidelines. We have district filters for our air conditioners that are maintained, okay, as per manufacturer's recommendation. Sanitizing stations are going to be located or are located already at the entrance and exit of each building, near lunchrooms, at each toilet that does not have a sink. Each classroom is also going to be equipped with hand sanitizer dispenser. In the district, as the guideline recommends, we utilize 60% alcohol sanitizers. Classroom with existing hand washing stations are supplied with soap and sanitizers. And we do have neutral disinfectant cleaners, which are really top of the line. And the custodians will be using that nightly. Deep cleaning will take place every night. And when we do come back to a hybrid, Wednesdays will be a day that all cleaning will take more and more time, so to make sure we disinfect all of the rooms as they are. So we will start that September 1st, whenever staff comes back, and then when we have staff in the building. Each classroom, again, is equipped with disinfectant cleaners and paper towels, drinking fountains as is recommended, and hydration stations will be turned off. So we will supply a bottle of water will be what needs to be in place. Classroom, bathrooms, floors, handrails, touch points, and common areas are cleaned daily by the custodial and will be cleaned even more effectively. It's cleaned effectively, it will be even cleaned more effectively. Go ahead, Chris. Some important additional information that I think parents need to be aware of. One is, Chris? One is meals. During phase one, the same as when we were fully remote back in the spring, the district will continue to feed our families that are eligible for free and reduced breakfast and lunches on virtual days. Okay, so that means that Pontonians, the food service that we contract with, will prepare meals daily and they can be picked up outside the high school cafeteria on Lincoln Avenue between 11 and 1. That worked out very well. I think towards the end, we were feeding up to almost 150, almost 200 families. We would like to continue even more families if needed. And phase two, the hybrid model, students will not eat in schools still, okay, during the hybrid model. However, as time progresses, students will slowly phase into eating with social distancing. Grab-and-go meals will be offered daily at the beginning when they are in the 4-hour session, and weekly menus will be created. In-person day meals, on in-person day, the districts that will tally the number of students' lunches needed and student breakfast for the upcoming day. Any school will have a designated location for delivery and distribution. What we're trying to not have is too much mobility in terms of students. The less mobility, the better. And that's what we're trying to. Virtual learning day meals, the same thing between 11 and 1, same as phase one. Go ahead. Transportation. Right now, even during remote learning, we might have other schools that may reopen, like the vocational schools may reopen. Sports may still go on. So we would need to use our transportation buses. So we do have a plan for that as well, okay? School bus aides and drivers are required to have their mask on all times. They must also complete the daily pre-screening questionnaire, Gloves will be available for use, although the guidance right now, does not say that they have to, but gloves and bare hands are able to be disinfected by the use of hand sanitizer with a minimum of 60% alcohol, and it will be available on all the buses. After buckling and unbuckling, students, staff are required to use hand sanitizers. Okay, buses are going to be disinfected twice a day and using the neutral disinfectant cleaner, which is top of the line and is approved to kill the virus. Students will be pre-screened with questionnaires, and also temperatures will be taken. And if any staff members or students answer yes in any of the questionnaire, obviously they will not be allowed on the bus. So we will have a plan to make sure that the parents are called to have them picked up. Okay. Students will be given temperature check. We already said that. If they fail the screening process, they need to get a medical clearance before returning on the bus. Okay. Students will be required to board the bus with a mask unless alternative arrangements have been made through the district or the student's IEP says otherwise. Masks will be available on the bus. Windows will be open as well. That is part of the guidelines and requirements. Students will be assigned to a bus and may be assigned a seat on the bus. The reason for that, very little mobility. They get on the bus, they sit down, they stay there for the entire route. Staffing, again, you saw the models, you saw the schedules. Teachers will be responsible for synchronous and asynchronous virtual and in-person instruction. All staff members will conduct virtual instruction for their assigned Roselle Park worksite unless they have an approved reasonable accommodation elsewhere. Paraprofessionals will continue to assist with instruction under the guidance of the teacher, and they will use the same model as the teaching staff. The district school social workers, school counselors, child study team members, PCBA will provide support to parents and staff by providing resources and training on all kinds of different topics. I mentioned that previously. Okay, and these are just the general health and safety guidelines that we'll be using. They come right from the Department of Health and the guidelines from the roadback as well. Okay, we will be consistent communicating with the local and state Department of Health. We have a wonderful relationship with Ms. Avalon over at the Westfield office. She has guided us in many things, and we will continue to seek her guidance. Local and state officials will be instrumental in working with the district to determine contact tracing and sequences. I was just on the phone with our town administrator. So, we will be in contact. He is the liaison between our Board of Education, the mayor and council, and we will certainly continue that communication and relationship because it's very helpful to our entire community. And there we have, and it's in the plan, it's in one of the appendixes, the reasonable accommodations for individuals, whether it's students or staff members. And it runs all the way from chronic lung diseases, heart conditions, any type of compromised type of health conditions, and they're all listed there. So, accommodations for those high-risk students will be made. And if parents are clearly virtual, then it will be not needed. But if they do want them to come in a hybrid type of model, we would certainly work to accommodate those students that are medically fragile. Okay, that is pretty much my presentation. Again, in closing, I just want to leave with one thought, and this has been incredibly challenging again for all of us. We never thought we were going to be in this situation that we're on right now. Everyone is working. I'll tell you, I know from a personal standpoint because I am in contact with everyone almost on a daily basis, really tirelessly. And, I do need to commend our administration for the hard work that they're doing. Amazing work. The staff during the spring, our Board of Education for the support that they have demonstrated and shown. Again, tough times. But I also want to thank the parents out there for your patience, your understanding. I know that this letter this morning and this decision to keep students home made some of you very angry, and really, something that you're very concerned about. You're very concerned with your child who may have, special needs, with your child that may be English language learner, with a child that, do much better in person than remote. With a child who's having some of these anxiety issues because of being home. But, as I assess, as I evaluate, as I meet with the team, this incredible team that I have, we need to look at everything with a different set of eyes and a set of classes that and the question always is, can we ensure the health and safety of our students and our staff? That's the driving question that we always ask. If we have any as remote concern as we can, we know what the answer is. Our hope, our goal, and what we want more than anything in our world here is to return our students back to where they belong, their buildings, in a safe and secure and healthy manner. And again, I want to thank you, parents. I can only understand. I read all of your questions. I think I've answered most of your emails. And if I didn't, please forgive me. I've tried. I'm trying to be as transparent as I possibly can. And I hope I've been with the staff and the parents. This is difficult. Superintendents, make decisions every day. They're asked to make tough decisions every day. But these are extraordinary, difficult decisions that we're making, all of us. And I do want to send out a message to our students as well, our resilient students, because I've seen many of them outside and out there, and, I say hello, and I can see, what this has impacted all of them. And it doesn't matter whether they're 4 or 5 years old or 17, 18 years old. Hang in there. Be optimistic. Everything is temporary, and this will make you much stronger than you were 6 months ago. Remember that. As we move forward, remember, continue to be resilient, continue to do the best that you can every day, and this will pass, and you're going to be much better and stronger as you move forward. And with that said, I know you have many questions. Some of them I can answer, some of them I can't. I might, a lot of it may be in the plan. I'm going to ask you just to revisit the plan. However, I want you to know that we will start town hall meetings with parents with the elementary level, middle school and high school next week. I don't know if any of our administrators are out there, our principals. We already went over that with them. I will be present as well, so the principals and I can certainly answer as many questions as you have for us. But again, all of you, thank you for your patience, your support, and your continued cooperation for our school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grillo. So now, folks, we will go into the public participation and agenda items only. Each member of the public may speak a maximum of 3 minutes and adhere to the following: have a full name written on their profile, raise their hand icon on Zoom, wait to be called by the board secretary. Once called, please put video on and unmute your audio. Thank you. So here we go.
When I call your name, please state your name again and state your address for the record. I have Larissa Belsky.
Hi. Larissa Belsky, our address is 535 Ashwood Avenue. Our question is, how are sports going to be handled during this 100% online?
Yes. Are you finished? Ms. Belsky, was that your question? Is she there?
She's muted.
Oh, she's muted. Okay.
Okay, I think I got enough.
Okay.
All right, so the question is, how are the sports going to be handled during this 100% online learning, and how is the internet connectivity issue being addressed within the schools? Because in the past, teachers and students have complained that internet connectivity in the school buildings are bad. And if the teacher's going to be doing live streams from the classrooms, that might affect their ability to stream their lessons to the students.
Okay, Ms. Belsky, first of all, thank you for your questions. Two excellent questions. First of all, the governor did announce that sports can go on even if districts choose to be or have the option to be remote. We are following right now, Mr. Foy, our athletic director, is doing an excellent job following the NJSIAA, which is the athletic organization for high schools in the state of New Jersey. We're following the guideline. So right now, sports, as of now, and of course it can change, as everyone knows, will continue even if we are remote. And that is based on the latest announcement from the governor. Number one. Number two, the staff is coming back before we start school, which will be September 2nd and 3rd. I believe those are the dates. I may be wrong. But what we're going to do when the staff comes back is we're going to do a trial run and address the connectivity in the buildings and here to see where we are. We are working on improving our capability. And as a matter of fact, today's agenda, I believe there is an agenda item that we're going to vote or we're going to discuss later on regarding improving our capabilities for fiber optic. But that obviously is not going to be immediately. But we are addressing those issues. We'll definitely do a trial run. But that's an excellent question. And that's something that we certainly will address. Michelle? You're muted. Let's go.
The next person is Zach Infante. If you could please state your address.
Hello, yes, my name is Zachary Infante. My address is 525 Roosevelt Street.
Hi,
thank you. Thank you for your time. And again, a huge thank you to the staff and the board and facilities for doing all that they can to get us prepared to this point. My question is sort of to follow up on one of the topics that you mentioned in regard to facilities and making sure the facilities are clean and safe for our students and for our staff coming in. As far as I know, staff will still be required to come in. What can we do to continue to assure our staff that they'll be safe in the buildings? What kind of protocols will be put in place for their own social distancing amongst the staff? And then also, God forbid, something were to happen to one of our staff members, one of our teachers, our educators, is there a plan in place to support our students so that they are immediately given instruction or, in the case of, for instance, a staff member becoming ill, right? Will there be someone, an educator that's able to step into the classroom to take over that class in the meantime?
Thank you very much. Those are great questions. We have been working, I'll tell you, I have to give, our staff as much pat on the back as possible because, our district has done such a good job in making sure that we provide social distancing, Mr. Infante. 6 feet. Some districts are not working within 6 feet. They're doing either 3 feet or so. We make sure that we do that. In terms of the staff when they come back, yes. First of all, we're not going to have any type of gatherings or meetings. Every meeting will be held virtually. Staff will be in the classrooms working from their station. If for any reason there will be any type of contact, we'll make sure that staff is directed to be 6 feet apart, wear masks, obviously, because that's what the guidelines is telling us to do. So, we're going to make sure that no one is exposed in any way, or obviously, have protocols in place to assure that doesn't happen. And if you do look at some of the appendices, we do have a lot of that information there in the plan. But the good thing, we are going to be meeting with the staff virtually, the principals, and a lot of these things are going to be reassured to them. Okay, there's going to be a plan for entrance, a plan for exiting the buildings, a plan for going into the classrooms. There will be directions where they will go to, and things such as that. And again, we will continue to improve as we go on. And that's one of the areas also that we're working on for our hybrid, to make sure that our students were able to have distance when they walked in, social distancing. During fire drills, that's something that, we need to address as well, because these security drills, fire drills, so plans for things like that are in the works as well. In terms of, to answer your second question, one of the things that we have in place here, and Ms. Kallstrom was the director of guidance prior to becoming a board member. We have an incredible crisis team in place, particularly in the high school level. We have a crisis plan, and one of the sections of the plan is for staff who either becomes ill or, some type of emergency happens, so we can support students' emotional and mental health. That is part of our crisis plan that we have in place. We have from our counselors to support staff, that really, to our SAC, which is a student assistant counselor. So we have a variety of staff members that can work together. And, we've had in the past, I know since I've been here, we've had 2 or 3 tragedies involving students or staff. And, the plan has worked really well to make sure we provide students with the support that they need. So that's definitely part of a, ongoing plan. Social emotional well-being and mental health is, very dear to me. And I want to make sure that our students are supported. So certainly, we do have a plan in place in case, a staff becomes ill. We do have, in particular, more on the elementary and the middle school. We do have teachers with certification, similar certification, that can certainly step into the classroom if we need to, and teach that class. And we will continue to work, to make sure that we have certified staff in place in case that some of the teachers come in. And, one of the concerns, and I can be transparent with all of you, we had some shortages of substitutes. We've tried to do so much to recruit as many, if anyone out there knows of any body that's certified or wants to be a substitute, please send it to us. We need them. We need it. And we're not unique to this. There are many, many districts that are going through the same staffing issues that we're having right now. So, but, we're doing the best we can. But I thank you very much for those questions. Ms. Callis?
The next one, we have Arlene Anjos. Please state your name and address.
Hi, Arlene Andros, 173 East Grand Avenue. Sorry, I'm trying to get a good light here. So my question was, my stepson is registered new for this year, so we have no experience with the district at all. So now with all of this going on, it's kind of extra confusing for us. Is there a contact person that we could get a hold of in the meantime to kind of ask questions about, you know, supplies needed or anything else kind of going on, you know, before the virtual learning actually starts? Is there a primary contact person that we can have?
First of all, welcome, Ms. Anhos. And, you know, under very, very unfortunate circumstances, but I can tell you, you have moved into a great school district, very caring and supportive district. So your stepson is going to have a very quality experience here. Are you referencing to registration?
Well, he's registered already, but just in general, like supplies needed or just a contact person in case we have issues with Genesis, things like that related to the virtual learning. Is there a primary contact person?
Sure. What grade is he going into?
8th.
8th grade. The middle school, the administration is there, and a secretary. You could certainly contact them. They're there 12 months with any questions. However, excuse me, Miss Goyce, the middle school principal, will be sending out information for the town hall meeting with the parents. I did receive information from her. It's going to be next week. So please be on the lookout. If you don't receive it by early next week, call the middle school and ask. She's going to go over everything in terms of the beginning of the school year, scheduling, supplies needed, instruction, you know, anything that is required for the middle school. She's going to go over it. But there are people in the middle school now that you can call over to, and you know, they'll be more than happy to answer questions.
Mr. Garrido, may I add something?
Go ahead, Ms. Kostrom.
And of course, a few days before school begins, the guidance staff will be there also, and I'm sure that they will be more than happy to have a phone conference with the parent and the student at that time.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Kostrom. That's correct.
Okay.
All right.
Is there time for just one more question, or I don't know if my 3 minutes is up?
Ms. Scalise?
You're muted.
I think you're good for another question.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
As far as, I don't know if this is going to be part of the information sent out, but for the grab and go lunches, is there like a payment system or I don't know, how is that done through Genesis, I guess?
Ms. Callis, do you want to just give her that information?
The link is on the PowerPoint for the online payments. If you want to do the grab and go lunch, if your child is eligible for free and reduced lunch, there is also going to be an online lunch application that all families can fill out so we can see the eligibility. In addition, if you don't have access to the online, and we will also be providing a paper copy for lunch applications.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Chris Belsky. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, this is Chris Belsky from 535 Ashwood Avenue. I have two questions. First question is, how will the grading system be while there's remote learning? And then next question is, while the students are in class, are they required to have their video cameras on? Thank you for taking my questions.
You're welcome. Thank you. The grading system, well, depends on the school. What grade is your child in, Mr. Belsky?
Middle school and high school.
Middle school and high school. Yes, the grading system will be the same as if they were, it will be live, in person. We will be using the same grading system. So certainly, and you know, this is important, especially for high school students, juniors and seniors, because for obvious reason, college applications and things like that. So yes, but Mrs. Costa and Ms. Goyce will go over that. That's part of their agenda as well. In terms of the camera being on, I didn't, I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Yeah, so just like how, while I'm speaking, I put my camera on, and so you and everybody else can see me. Like, so yes. I guess for the teachers, more or less, to see if the child is in good, standing or good health. Looks okay, no black eyes.
Yes, we do. We certainly would encourage that. I know some prefer not to, and but yes, the camera will need to be on. And again, the principals will go over all of that. Yes. Thank you.
The next person is Jeannie Gregory. Please state your name and address.
Okay. Video. Hi, I'm Jeannie Gregory. I'm at 217 Charlotte Terrace. The question I had was, what ways have you supported the teachers to create a better remote learning plan than last year? Have you used outside resources, trainings, experts, etc., to kind of help put a better plan in order?
Yes, Ms. Berkey. This is something that we had some concerns back in the spring. We used contractually we have staff training or staff professional development that we have put in place. At the end of June, that time for professional development was dedicated to improve our learning platform. And to answer your questions about purchasing new features and platforms and applications, yes, we have. Mr. Saville, who is our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and the principals have been very busy working on that. And again, teachers come in 2 days prior to starting our remote learning. They're going to be dedicated completely to their virtual instruction. So yes, it's going to be much rigorous, more robust, and we are expecting a much better outcome, for the virtual instruction.
And I just have one more question. Sure. Why was the decision made to have the teachers in class remote teaching rather than remoting from home? Is it worth the risk of losing some teachers because of their inability to get childcare?
Yeah, that's that's a good question. One of the things that we looked at very carefully is you asked the question before about the training, about the resources, and so forth. There may be a time that we may need to share some resources with them. It's easier to do it when they are in here. We do have the technology, we do have the devices, we do have a lot of more things that we can provide for them. But again, it's a matter of having the teachers present to have, again, it's many more resources that we possibly can give them. And if we do add more things to it, it will probably be done through here in the district. So, good question. It was more for effective instruction that we thought about it. I did consult with other superintendents. Many of them are doing something similar, and again, we're trying to do as much as we can to provide them with the resources that they would need to be as effective as they possibly can.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mute.
So I'm going to skip over Kristen's iPhone until that particular person puts their full name so I can call on them. So I'm going on to Elsa Ferreira.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. trying to connect the video. Well, I have a few questions. I have twin girls that will start kindergarten, and they will be. I want to know if they will be in the same classroom. But before I forgot, I need to give you my address. It's 423 Hemlock Street. So the first question is, since my twin, because in case I need to have 1 or 2 computers for them. Also, will they need my assistance in case, if I need to separate them or I need to help one or the other one with the class? I don't know. I'm new to this. And the last one, when we move to a hybrid, will I be able to pick them up to have lunch at home? So this way they will have a mask break?
Okay. Again, it's a little difficult to hear because of the technical difficulties. In terms of your daughters in the same class, we are working. Somebody has some background noise. Yep, that's better. In terms of having, Ms. Pereira, do you want to mute for a second so we don't get background? Thank you. Okay, in terms of your twin daughters, we definitely, when we go into hybrid, we would certainly work to have them come the same days. We're trying to keep siblings together. However, we cannot guarantee they're going to be in the same class. That's definitely. In terms of picking up for lunch, we are not going to allow pick up for lunch because that means that the children will have more of a opportunity to move, and mobility is going to. We would certainly have recess time for the students, and if weather permits, we certainly will, have them go outside and possibly have a mask break with the social distancing. So that's something that, we were planning, but certainly we're not going to be allowing to go home for lunch because lunch is not going to be part of the day. Lunch is going to be after the school ends. It's going to be a grab and go.
I don't know if I have time. So that means I will need 2 computers, right? One for each.
Yes. If you need to, yes, you can request via Genesis to Parent Portal, the request, and you can request it through them.
The next person is, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce names, Dana Melissi. Please state your name and address.
Oh, hi. Dana Melissi. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Ms. Melissi.
Hi, actually, it's Dana Spore. Mr. Garrido, thank you for taking my emails. And also, just to that one stepmother who moved in, we were new to the school district last year, and it was a wonderful experience, and just to give them some hope. But my concern is about the working family. Yes. Not being able to log on during the hours due to elderly not being able to navigate the internet and like. Did you hear me?
Yeah, actually, we just lost you for 1 second.
Okay.
You're back.
And I'm sorry, my address is 414 East Lincoln Avenue.
Yes, Ms. Melissi, actually, this has been a part of our conversation with the administration, especially the elementary, obviously, because of childcare needs and, having to go over to a grandparent's house or a childcare center that may not be able to provide them. That's the reason for the pre-recorded lessons. We are going to, and when you contact and when you do have the town hall meeting with the principals, they will address that. But certainly we would not jeopardize, your child's education because of the special need that you have. We will definitely take special consideration for those children that are in that situation. But when the town hall meetings with the elementary principals happen, that certainly is going to be brought up. And
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, that's certainly, and we have been listening to you, and obviously you're not the only one. There are other parents with the same.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Ms. Felice, and thank you for the kind words about the district. We appreciate it.
The next person is Frank Gagliardo. If you could kindly say your name and address.
Hi, I'm Frank Gagliardo. I live at 409 Sheridan Avenue. And I have actually two questions. One's really directing towards Sherman School. And then the other one is, I forgot, I'm sorry. Let me just start with the Sherman School one. The Cifelli Group is doing work on Sheridan Avenue. And I know I've asked this to you directly before, but now they've been doing work with the driveways. I was wondering if you guys can see if they can get a quote. I remember telling you this before about paving the Sherman School back parking lot so that the kids, when and if we go back to school, that they can have a new playground.
Facilities, I don't know if anyone would like to.
Look, I can help out here. I'm not sure the process through the school district is to, let's be transparent here. Hey, how much can you do my driveway? It's $100. I'll give you to an envelope. We have a process where we're school district, and we have to go out to bid the whole 9 yards. So unless Callis can tell me different, it's not that easy. The perfect world, it would be nice. They're mobilized, but we adopted a budget this year, and actually the governor took, if people don't know, $957,000 away from us. So we're hurting. We went with zero, increase to the public, and boom, all of a sudden, and he had that, the governor. So we're hurting for money. So we're trying to do everything we've been doing the last couple of months efficiently. So I don't think we can just do that. I could just briefly tell you is I asked them to get this work done before school starts. And that hopefully happens the 200 block and 300 block of Sherman. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to pave too. So anyway, your question is, we're not able to do that legally. Do you have any other questions for the school? Please ask the superintendent.
Yeah, back on, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted a quote about how much it would cost, because the parents of Sherman School were raising the money themselves to try to get it done to help you guys. We didn't want any of the budget of you guys to go towards it if we didn't have to. That's what I was looking for.
So Frank, you can email me, and then I've been in contact with them about getting this work done, and let's talk offline about that tomorrow, okay?
Not a problem. Thank you so much.
The next person is Michelle Taze. I'm sorry. Please state your name and address.
My name is Bill Tawes. I'm actually under my wife, who just walked away, from 542 Faytute Avenue. I actually want to commend the school board and all of the teachers and facilities for all the work that you have put in so far, and definitely understand the circumstances that we're in, that it's not going to be an easy decision to keep us all remote. I was hopeful, so I understand the reasons why. My question is, going back to the hurricane that just happened and the power outages that we had for several days in Roselle Park, how will the schools be handling a situation such as that? If powers go out, how would we handle the attendance, students learning, keeping everybody on a schedule? It has definitely impacted working families over the last couple of days, and not being in offices, we couldn't work. And that I could see happening to students as well.
Mr. Toss. Thank you for the questions. And you know that is something that we go through every year due to either snowstorms or possible tropical storms or what have you. We do have generators in the buildings. I don't know if those are will be sufficient to generate power for the district. Now that remote learning is here and can be done from home, that could be something that if the buildings are not accessible, that could be something that we certainly can explore. To have that. Without power, obviously, we can generate a computer. We cannot generate the online courses. So it's one of those things that I don't know if there's an answer for that, to be honest with you, but we will do our best to be up and running as soon as we possibly can.
How would you handle if we stay full remote and don't go back to school? Mm-hmm. How would we handle the attendance with students at home that wouldn't be able to have power? How would that be handled?
Yeah, that again, another good question. We do. I mean, if we have to cancel school, the student will not be absent, right? The same if it's an in-person and school's canceled because of a snowstorm or what have you. We have to attend school 180 days as per state law. So, for example, if there's a bad storm that knocks out power, that will be a school closure. So that day is not going to count for attendance. So that will be the way we would handle that. In terms of daily attendance, it will be the same as coming into school. They would take attendance via the Zoom class or the classroom, Google Classroom, whichever suite they use for that time. But in terms of losing power and having a school closure, that would not count for attendance because it would count as a school closed, so we will have to make it up.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The next person is Tom Berrios. Please state your name and address.
Sure. Hi, my name is Tom Berrios. I live at 430 Maplewood Avenue. Mr. Garrido, thank you very much for your time and your plan. I thought the district did was an excellent job. My question simply is the issue that the school is not reopening about the plans not ready, or that the staff doesn't feel comfortable coming in?
Well, it's again, as I mentioned before, the health, safety of our students is our #1 priority. There are a combination of things. Scheduling is a big concern. And yes, there have been teachers for medical reasons that are beyond our control, obviously, because, they're unable to come in. They have doctors' documents and so forth. So if that can possibly impact our schedules. So we would not be able to teach our in-person classes and our remote classes if scheduling is an issue, either lack of staff in the building or what have you. So it's a combination of things. I wouldn't say it's one thing. It's a combination of things that have brought concerns to our attention in terms of, and that's one of them. The scheduling of the students and staff that do have some medical conditions, some medical concerns, and cannot come in. So, but that's one of the issues. But I wouldn't say that's that's everything. But scheduling is the biggest barrier, the biggest obstacle that we are facing, and that's the reason for the remote learning.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Berrios.
The next person is Paula Santiago.
Hi, thank you. Paula Santiago, 512 Walnut Street. I have a few questions, and I know I only have 3 minutes. I'll try to be quick. My first question is, are the students going to continue using Zoom? Or since the kids are still using Google Classroom, why not Google Meet instead, where the teacher, even though that said teacher doesn't have control of muting or unmuting, the rules can be set and everything is a little bit more protected. Second question. Since staff will be inside the building, will there be IT support, like a person to do IT support per building, not IT? I don't even know how many IT techs we have, but will each building have an IT support? Because some things, let's be honest, will happen. We just saw that right now in this meeting. My third question is, it's synchronous learning, correct? Is it mostly synchronous learning?
Well, during online remote, it's going to be as parallel as possible to what a school day will be like. Synchronous will come when the hybrid plan comes in, where some students are in the classroom, some students are virtual, and they're going to be receiving via the students that are in person will be receiving the same lesson as students via Google Classroom or another platform.
So when we start the actual school year, then technically we could say it's asynchronous, because you did mention earlier that it was going to be pre-recorded. Because my question was going to be, how will a teacher, like at the end of the day, a classroom is a give and take from both the teacher and the students. Mm-hmm. So like, how will the students participate? Like if a teacher says, hey guys, what's 2 + 2? Let's start with something as simple as that. And then getting a response from the kids. Let's discuss how this goes. Yeah. That's my part.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Ms. Santiago. Yeah, we're gonna have that via the Google Classroom and the Zoom, where there's going to be interaction between the teachers and the students and engagement. That's not. So we're gonna have a combination of both.
Okay. And my last question was going to be, since your staff is going to be in the building, I'm a Sherman parent. A lot of our staff members are parents themselves of little kids in middle school. Now you're making them, like now they're going into the building. What has Roselle Park done to help provide support for their teaching and staff all across the board? Like Mrs. Lechner, she's a principal who also has little kids. Like it all becomes a ripple effect where, you know, like I know that you're saying it's by contract. It's almost like me asking like how many teachers are possibly now have to, hey, am I going to go into my job or do I have to take FMLA? And I know I am not envious at all of anybody that had to make these decisions. I know these are not easy decisions to be made. I'm also just thinking from a staff's perspective, gosh, I'm here all day for let's say, I don't know what their hours are, but like until at least 3:34. And then I have to still go home and handle my own children who's staying with it's just a lot of stress all around. Mm-hmm. So these are all my questions. Sorry.
No problem. In terms of the instructional platforms, we will be using a combination of Zoom and Google Classrooms. You know, we do have the Google Suite, and they added a lot more support platforms to it. So we're going to be using a combination. But you know, that again, when you do go to the town hall meetings with the principals, they're going to explain the whole. But you know, we've done a good job in making sure that we are using appropriate classrooms. In terms of the IT support, yes, we do have a small IT team. However, we do have technology staff. Every building has staff that is very savvy with technology. They are computer teachers, the technology liaison between the district and the school. So they will be available as well. So we will use the staff to support and mentor the teachers or coach the teachers in terms of their technology platforms. I think I answered the other questions. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you mentioned about the synchronous learning,
yes.
But not about the support for the teachers and staff.
Yeah, you know, that's something again that we definitely are thinking about. Obviously, we do have you know, concerns all around, and there's concerns around everything that's done nowadays in terms of you know, again, resources are here. Our central education for you mentioned technology as being one. It's here, and you know, we're trying to provide the teachers and the staff with as much support as we possibly can, And if they hear, that will be obviously an advantage, to help our students. And that is the main thing. Our number one priority, of course, is our students in the district. But the question is great, and we certainly, take everything into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Guido and Ms. Callis, can you just, I'm asking all the folks there, I'm struggling here and everybody, so if you could help us out a tad, and maybe just my laptop or anybody else, if you could try to speak a little louder or get closer to your microphones we have, please. Thank you. I want to hear everything, so I don't think you want to see I need a shave, but I'm getting close to the laptop. Thank you.
The next person is Ruth Jimenez. Please state your name and address.
Hi, Ruth Jimenez, 408 Maplewood Avenue. And I have two questions. The first is, what is the plan for those students who were in the middle of INRS and those were interrupted? Going ahead, what is the plan and how to complete those referrals? And the second question is, what is exactly considered a reasonable accommodation for students with health needs? Like, I have a son who has asthma, moderate asthma. So if I were to decide to send him in, what would be considered a reasonable accommodation for him?
Okay, first of all, in terms of the IRS and your child's situation, our central staff here, Ms. Marmello is here, Ms. Bodek, who is the 504 officer, or the principals are here as well. You may want to, call one of them and get that information. We are continuing with all of our programs, INRS, the testing for special education, all of that is ongoing. But you might want to call directly to either the principal or Mrs. Marmello if it's it's something to do with child study team testing. But Ms. Callis, can you just answer about the accommodations?
So as far as a reasonable accommodation, it depends on the actual medical need of the child. You mentioned asthma. So a common accommodation for someone with asthma would be to be in a room that's air conditioned. So it depends on the medical. So there's so many different medical diagnoses out there. To say that it's a catch-all, we can't do that.
Okay, thank you.
The next person is Megan Appello.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Appello, we can hear you.
Two questions. The first being, I understand that there are issues with the concerns about teachers and not having enough teachers who are able to come into the building. How do you expect to resolve a problem like that within the school year at all? What are the plans to get teachers in to take the places of teachers who can't be there, number one? And then a question that's unrelated to education, but I know you're waiting on NJSIAA rules in terms of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Do you anticipate that there will be middle school sports at all this year?
Ooh, good questions. And in terms of the staff, we're working on a plan, and we are meeting. The administration works on it. Obviously, the board, I update on personnel issues and things like that. So we are working on trying to work with the staff issues. In terms of middle school sports, excellent question. I don't know what the NJSIAA is going to decide, whether they're just going to keep high school sports going, but certainly we will keep parents informed as soon as we hear more about the situation with the sports. But yeah, right now I really don't have an answer regarding middle school sports.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Isabel.
There are no other hands at this time, President Signorello.
Questions now in the first public session. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go into policy. Superintendent's recommendation 1, district policies first reading. 2, district policies second reading. We have approval for policy section. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Langang.
Yes.
Ms. Carlstrom.
Yes.
Ms. Falcon.
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Harms.
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
President Signorello.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Personnel, staff appointments. 3, 4, reappointment. 5, a staff resignation. 6, leave of absence request. 7, change of assignments and transfers. 8, instructional support stipends. 9, district substitutes. Clerical aid. And 11, curriculum writing. 12, high school extracurriculum 2020 to 2021. We have an approval, make an approval of the personnel section. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Seconded. I'm sorry. I didn't hear. Oh.
Ms. Carlstrom.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Langang.
Yes.
Ms. Carlstrom.
Yes.
Ms. Falcon.
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Harms.
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
And President Signorello.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, education. 13, district restart and recovery plan. 14, education program 2020-2021. 15 is the 2020-2021 multi-tiered system of support plan. 16 is curriculum adoption. 17, 2020-2021 high school marching band. And 18 is professional development plan. Make a motion, please. Have a motion.
Make the motion.
A second.
Who made the first motion? I'm sorry.
Marissa?
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Vice President Langang.
Yes.
Ms. Carlstrom.
Yes.
Ms. Falcon.
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Harms.
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
And President Signorello.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, superintendent's recommendation, business, monthly certification, 20, approval of bills, 21, approval of minutes, 22, state aid reduction plan for 2020-2021, 23, use of buildings and grounds, we have a motion to approve the business section.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Langang.
Yes.
Ms. Carlstrom.
Yes.
Ms. Falcon.
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Harms.
Yes.
Ms. Hemingway. Mr. Hemingway, sorry.
Yes. Miss.
Sorry, it's a long night. Ms. McLeod Cato.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, but I am abstaining from my 23E, please.
And President Signorello.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do we have any continuing business? Any continuing business? Okay, we have new business. Anybody have new business tonight?
Yes, Mr. President, I have some new business. I'd like to make a motion that the board convene back into information sessions starting the earliest in September.
Does anybody want to second that motion?
Could you repeat yourself, Lauren, please, Mr. Harms?
To make the motion to go, that the board go back into in-person meetings starting earliest in September.
Anybody want to second that?
I second that.
I guess the process, will you take a roll call on this, Mrs. Cowles?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes, a roll call vote.
Vice President Langang.
Are we allowed to discuss this before we vote?
Yes.
Could I ask the lawyer to remind us of the protocols we'll have to go through to have meetings in person?
So there cannot be shared equipment unless it's going to be wiped down in between uses. So to the extent that the board members share microphones, in order for the next person to use it needs to be wiped down in between. We need to maintain 6 feet of distance between all of the board members, any of the administrators in attendance at the meeting. If the meeting is going to be open to the public in person as well, then we need to make sure that we maintain at least 6 feet of distance in between members of the public. There needs to be some kind of demarcation on the floor, taping something to actually indicate what 6 feet actually looks like. While it's not a requirement, if the meeting is in person, while it is not a requirement for the meeting to also be broadcast virtually, it is something that many boards are doing in order to ensure that people have sort of full access in terms of being able to gain access to that meeting. So then if that's the case, then we just need to figure out technologically wise how that is practically going to be conducted. And then the publication, the notice of the meeting will follow suit with respect to how that's going to be broadcast, or whether it's going to be open to the public. Masks must be worn in the meeting. They may be removed by those running the meeting when you are speaking. So for example, if I was there, I would have a mask on during the meeting. I could move it down to speak into the microphone as I'm doing right now. And when I'm finished, I would move it back up. And then you need to follow whatever are the maximum capacity guidelines at the time from the state for an in-person gathering. So that changes. And so we would just need to stay on top of what they are with respect to when the meeting is actually held.
Mm-hmm. So
can I ask a question or make a suggestion? In the past years, the Board of Ed has used Borough Hall, where they have one microphone for each person. Would we be able to share that facility moving forward during the pandemic?
It could be a possibility.
I mean, from my perspective, legally, it's certainly a possibility. Whether the district is able to arrange for that, I mean, it's certainly worth a look.
What is the number of attendance that we can accommodate in a borough facility?
Do we plan on opening it to the public at all?
Yeah, I think we just want to have the meeting in motion. Is just to have us folks together and no public and do what we did tonight. October, November, December, that's the future, January. But basically and it will be in a form, but no public participation, and we'll do like we do today or we did in the past. I think, Mr. Harms, is that your motion right now?
Yeah, that's why I said the board meeting in person. I'm sorry if I didn't stipulate a little bit more. I'm sorry.
Okay, and so then in that case, we would absolutely have to, for example, you're using Zoom tonight, you would have to broadcast it via some virtual platform and provide an opportunity for the public to participate then virtually.
just like we did tonight, right?
Correct, just like you did tonight, correct.
Okay.
So what are the advantages of doing it that way versus how we just did it?
I think it's better. I think we get more productive. My opinion. I'm making a motion so we can put it to the vote. That's what, I mean, I think it's better.
And if I may, I mean, I get what you're saying, Mr. Harms, and I mean, I think, you know, the optics of us being together in a room, you know, it definitely, you know, it is a progressive strategy to show not only to the public, students, and the staff that, you know, we are one, and we'd like to move forward and go forward and have some sort of normalcy. I totally get that. At this time, my opinion is, you know, right. I mean, with what Ms. Osborne was saying, with all the logistics that go into, like maybe the school, you know, having meetings in the school, you know, with the sanitation, with the microphones, with all that stuff. I feel the custodians, you know, right now the plate's so full with what they have to do as far as opening the schools and making sure everything's safe, making sure especially our teachers are safe, the ones that are coming into school. I think maybe we could revisit this question in October after we see, you know, the opening of school and see how it goes and say, okay, this can work and we can do it then, as opposed to putting on our plate for September, then saying, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. And, you know, maybe if we just table it till October and see how September goes, because I get what you're saying. I just think, you know, I don't want to overburden, you know, custodians in these uncharted waters that we're entering already.
Oh,
I can appreciate that, Mr. Miller, and that's some good points. The reason why I would bring it up now is that we don't have our students going back in come September, and I just think it's a good faith to show our residents that we will take care of their children, because we know that our custodians are going in there, and it's just something I think that would just show that we're going in there, that we have faith in our custodians to do the right thing, to have it clean, and for our staff also, because basically in September the staff will be going in there. I just think it's a good faith thing, but you have some good points. But again, I'd like to see us back in.
We won't be using microphones because we all be using our laptops. The capability's there, and we'll follow the rules, and we'll talk to facilities to make sure it works for September 1st. So any other questions? Because we'll have a roll call.
Yes, I have a question. So the capability is there for us to all live stream and to accommodate the amount of possible parents that we have right now
In the high school cafeteria, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to add, I agree, Mr. Harms, that we need to show some solidarity with our teachers. If we are asking our teachers and our staff to come into our buildings, then us as board members should also feel comfortable doing the same thing. I think it shows some solidarity in the community, and I think we need that right about now.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Maybe tests beforehand, so long as we can demonstrate that we can successfully from wherever we do it.
So Mr. Hemingway, I believe the computer, yep, Mr. Hyde said it, we have the capability. So we'll take a vote, and we should do a test trial to make sure it works. But I feel comfortable. Mr. Hyde and Mr. Prento said it will work in the cafeteria for us folks.
My computer went dead, John.
Oh, went dead?
Yeah, it just went dead.
Oh.
So I'll be here for the vote.
All right. So, Ms. Callis, please take the roll call.
Just left.
Mr. Harms' computer crashed. All right.
I didn't leave, but I'm here. My computer crashed. Maybe that's because I put it to a vote.
Go ahead, Mrs. Callis. You're on mute. You're on mute, Mrs. Callis.
The power.
Vice President Lange.
Oh.
Ms. Carlstrom.
Yes.
Ms. Falcon.
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Harms.
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway.
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato.
I think it should be optional. We're giving our teachers a choice, and I think it should be optional for the members. And you know, I believe we're supporting our staff, we're supporting the children, we're supporting the administrators. But I just think that it should be optional. So I'm a no on this one, but to revisit later.
Mr. Miller.
And based on my reasoning that I wanted to wait until October, I mean, I do want to see them happening, but I wanted to wait just to see how everything shakes out, so I'm voting no.
President Signorello.
Yes.
We have 6 yeses.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Any other new business?
Yeah, I have an item of new business. I'm not ready to make a motion, but I would like us to consider adding back some of the meetings that we took off the calendar at the beginning of the year. We have a couple of 4-week gaps between meetings, and I know that many board members felt that was too long of an interval between meetings to hear from the administration and give the public chance to speak. So I would like us to consider putting the October 6th, November 3rd, and December 1st meetings back on the calendar. I'm not making that motion yet, but I hope we can pick it up at our next meeting.
Thank you.
I think I agree with that. And I think for me, that's more the frequency of our meetings, especially at this time, is more important to me than how we meet, whether it's virtually or in person.
Any other new business? Okay, we will go back into public participation. Each member of the public may speak a maximum of 3 minutes and adhere to the following. Have full names written on their profile. Raise the hand icon on the Zoom. Wait to be called by the board secretary. Once called, please put video on your audio. Thank you. Ms. Callis, we have a list? You're on mute, but no hands? There are no hands?
There are no hands.
Okay, should we wait about 59 seconds and see if anybody else wants to call in?
Just like to make a comment. With the uncertainty of our daily lives, I did hear something rather enjoyable today as I live across the street from the high school field. The melody of the band practicing was a pleasant and welcoming sound to make it almost like it was normal, like a normal day or a normal time with the band starting to practice. So again, I look forward to hearing them. They must have their weekly practice or the band camp this week. So it was something nice to hear.
I agree, Ms. Carlson. When I came to the meeting, I saw him out there and I thought it was great. I was looking for the football team out there practicing.
So, Ms. Callis, I see, I'm not sure, I see a hand raised, so is that
right,
something?
That person just put their hands up after I had mentioned something. So are we opening for public?
We did.
Okay, yeah, so we have Larissa Belsky. Please state your name and address.
Hi, Larissa Belsky, 535 Ashwood Avenue. Just a quick question on the agenda under item 22, state aid reduction plan. Just curious, what is the equalization aid and extraordinary aid? What are those go to? And I understand that there was a reduction in the state aid, but what do those usually go towards?
So the equalization aid, that is basically, that's the overall state aid that we received based on this, the number of students. There's a number of variables that go into determining what that number shall be. So the way that the school formula is calculated, it's based off the number of students, the age groups, the populations, and basically the demographics of the free, reduced, number of speech students, number of ESL students. They all have different variables that go into counting like the weight. And then based on the shared number of dollars that the state has is how they allocate it towards all the districts. So we saw a reduction from what was originally given to us in February. And then we got a revised notice sometime over the summer, of which we, as you see, we saw a reduction. So we had to make our budget adjustments. You asked about the extraordinary aid. Extraordinary aid is basically for any aid for special education students and services that go over and beyond the typical student. That's why it's extraordinary. So those are funds that we receive when we put in for specific claims and all the services for special needs students.
All right, thank you.
All right, don't give.
All righty. Oh, Wendy?
No.
All right, so I don't see any other questions, so I'd like to get a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
There's a Wendy. Yes, I was trying to do this, but I don't know how.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi, guys. So I have a question, and I don't know if it was addressed because I couldn't get into the meeting before. My question is that I understand we have to go to all online learning, and there's all this stuff going on. So there's a lot of issues with working parents. Is there going to be an accommodation made so that children who have parents that have to provide childcare, which obviously is a responsibility of a parent, are going to be able to have a more flexible schedule with the online learning? For example, my husband and I still both have to go through work, which many people still are working through all of this stuff. So will there be some kind of accommodation for working parents as to like the schoolwork that needs to be done, because it's going to be all virtual and all online? But at this point in time, because the decision was made, we had one plan and the plan was changed, which, fine, things happen. This is just uncharted territory. Is there going to be accommodation for those kids that maybe they can't do schoolwork at 7 a.m.? Maybe they're doing schoolwork at 5 o'clock when parents get home from school because they have to stay with grandparents, or they don't have that support system in place for childcare. So obviously, it's more important for your child to be healthy and cared for than to be worrying about, is my child online at this time? Second part of that question is, what about the technology? There's such a gap in technology for some parents in this community that they do not have access to Wi-Fi or enough Wi-Fi, or they have multiple students, so they don't have internet access to be able to accommodate. Maybe they have 3 kids, maybe they have 5 kids, and they're all trying to be online at the same time. And is there going to be flexibility in that with the for students and parents to, that's not going to penalize the student? This is like kind of out of our control. I mean, I understand having a stable schedule and trying to have the kids there when they need to be there, but if they're just sitting in front of a computer all the time having online learning, and you have 3 or 5 kids, or you have working families, that's really going to be detrimental to trying to achieve the goals of the school. So what is the flexibility in that going to be, and how is that going to work? So that's my question.
Hi, Wendy.
Mr. Garrido, before you answer, I'm sorry, Wendy, can you please state your full name and your address?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Wendy Jimateric. It's 168 West Grant Avenue, Roselle Park, New Jersey, 07226, 07202. 07204 is the zip code here. I don't even know what zip code.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi.
Actually, those 2 questions came up before. I'm sorry that you weren't able to come into the meeting. Both were answered. Yes, flexibility will be given to those parents of elementary age students, especially the young ones that have child care concerns. We're going to have pre-recorded lessons, so the principals or teachers will be working with you to make sure they're not penalized for not being present at that time. But we have discussed this plenty of times, and yes, there's going to be flexibility for parents like you that have young children, that the child care may not, may be a grandparent or someone that cannot help them beyond. In terms of the internet, yes, we will be providing assistance to families for both devices if they don't have them, and also to provide them with free Wi-Fi as well. But there will be flexibility also for parents of multiple children that may crash the system or what have you. We will work with them as well, because we understand there are different issues that go on in different families. So absolutely.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering.
Yes, we will.
Thank
we'll
you. I mean, I just really wonder how you're gonna bridge that technological gap, especially because of the issue of the technology. That's really a big issue, and I don't really know. It doesn't seem like that issue is grasped. I think if everybody feels like everybody has a cell phone, everybody has this, but learning on a cell phone or learning on a tablet is just not the same as learning in a school, which we all know is the ideal that we can't have right now. But even if you don't have, some people just don't have the funds or the access to be able to buy that technology.
Exactly.
So, it's not providing equitable education to everybody if it's not across the board.
Absolutely. We were lucky that a couple of years ago, we were able to go one-to-one with our middle school and high school students. So they all have devices. And we just updated the high school devices. So we have extras that we can use for the elementary level students as well. So we were lucky in that part, that we're able to bridge that technology gap with that.
Okay. And then I know I'm taking up too much time. I'm sorry. I have another suggestion that people that have like older, so I think, this is just my opinion, and I don't know if it's legal or that could be done. I think that people that have old, like in the community, we're very good with community outreach here. We have really great stuff like that available. And I think there's a lot of people in the town that have older devices that would work for younger students. If the school or the technology department of the school could find a way to gather up those devices and, refurbish them in a way that would make sense for the community to be able to use them, say kindergartners, because maybe they just need tablets, or old Chromebooks, first, second graders. If there's a gap there, that might be a way to fill that gap by having, the community donate, like doing an outreach. So that might be a way to do that if there's not a way that the budget allows for it, so that might be one way to bridge that gap, because I really think that if we don't bridge those community gaps, you're just going to have all these other external problems,
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion. We appreciate it. Thank you.
So, all right. Thank you for your time.
Take care.
I'm muted.
Valerie Bielski.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Valerie Bielski, 412 Laurel Avenue, Roselle Park. I don't have any children in school, but I do have a granddaughter. And I've got to give kudos to Lauren Harms for bringing up about public meeting. You expect our teachers to go back to school. You people should get together and show us that you are doing that also. And I thank you, Lauren, and all the people that voted yes for it. Thank you also for doing your hard work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mrs. Callis, anybody else?
I don't have, there's no one else that has a name shown.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey.
Thank you, folks.
Good night.
Night.
Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.